We also had an independent government in 1948, and India quote unquote annexed Manipur in 1949. Within this period, there are a lot of interesting things that happened. Because of these ethnicization of narratives, there was a time, or in the recent history of Manipur, some scholars came out all of a sudden started saying that the size of Manipur is merely 700 square kilometer, which is meant in reference to the valley. Now, this has to be re-understood. And let me help you to understand these two historical facticity, not a constructed claim. I tell you, in 1834, the book written by Pemberton, the eastern frontier of eastern frontier of India, writes that the approximate size of Manipur state was, at the time, 7,000 square miles, extending up to Chinwin River and 3 days of walking distance from Chinwin River. And it was also extended up to Katsar and also Sibsagar. The point I'm trying to make is that the historical construction and the reclaiming with new narratives of demeaning established states like Manipur by saying that it did not have a territory has also contributed to the present conflict. The point that I'm going to raise is that, let me tell you, in 1948, when the Maharaja of Manipur was speaking for the first time in the first day of the assembly of 1948, October 18th, he said that the size and territory of Manipur was 8,650 square kilometer plus 7,000 square kilometer of the Kabo Valley, standing up to around around 15,000 square kilometer territory of Manipur. One more very interesting thing is that up to 1947, a political agent to the Dominion of India was stationed in Manipur, and he was giving Manipur a compensation of 6,270 rupees to the government of Manipur. This has been stopped since the Kabo Valley was handed over to Burma. Now the point is very clear. Did Manipur have a history? Did it have a territory of its own? I think answers are being given. Let us not have any confusion anymore. These, I never wanted to say so much. I did not want to essentialize this so much, but it has become very important to begin with the basics of history of Manipur. Because we, people from that area at least, live with some pride that we have had a long history of state making. And this history cannot be erased so easily. That is perhaps one of the reasons why, particularly in the valley, there's a lot of protest. What happened after 1947-49? A lot of ethnic laws came up when Manipur was not a full-fledged state. Manipur became state only in 1972. But in 1960, forget all the rest of the events that happened before. In 1960, Manipur land law was enacted. Because since it was a union territory, the state government did not have the power to legislate. So it was a New Delhi government law. And that was a law that deprived the people in the valley to settle or to purchase land in the hills. And that has continued for so many years. But Meiteis, mind you, do not have a habit of settling in the hills. But they are being accused of trying to occupy hills of Manipur, which is again going to require a rethinking from the perspective of mainland Indians, whether Meiteis are trying to settle in hills. Laws after laws have been met. 1971, another law came up, creating Hill Area Committee within the State Assembly of Manipur, which mandates the Hill Area Committee to give an advisory opinion on any law that is going to be promulgated in the State Assembly of Manipur. That again has accentuated the Hill Valley divide. Now, today in 2023, the conflict has widened, the mistrust has widened because you have continued with all the colonial laws. And these laws have divided people, not developed them in the way that we expected. Now, I think I'm exhausting my time. A lot of things have to be said, but northeastern region of India has been victim of different political developments in the region. The partition of India 1947, the creation of Bangladesh 1971, military coup in 1962 in Burma, all these have created a lot of problems for the region. And the Rohingya issue that erupted after 2001 military coup in Myanmar has also added ethnic tension in the region. The point that I'm trying to raise is that Burma also has an unfavorable history of not treating its ethnic communities properly. There was a conference in 1947 called Bangalore Conference, in which the ethnic communities were proposed and assured to be given their federal rights. But this was not given since the military coup started to happen in 1962. Somebody, please come and help me to, okay. Please come. I have a slideshow, which will take some time, around 5-6 minutes. And so now, let me come back to the geopolitical aspect. Since the previous speaker started to talk about geopolitics, let me summarize by saying that in the early decade of 20th century, there was a political scramble happening in the Himalayas that is called as the Great Age. It was a war, it was a conflicting situation between the Russians, the British, and the Chinese. Chinese had interest in Tibet and also the oil and natural gas resources in Central Asia. Now, what the British was trying to do was encourage science and to contain Russia. According to Butler, these great caves in the Himalayas, Eastern Himalaya, was transferred to the Indo-Myanmar region because after India's independence, things got diverted to that direction, that is the India-Myanmar region, which he called as Great Cave East. Having said this, there are a lot of geopolitical terrains. As you rightly mentioned about Kaleidoscopic model project, you also mentioned about the trilateral highway and many more. I'll come back to the geopolitical issues, but since I don't have much time, I would like to focus on a couple of specific empirical issues that we confront in the region. Now let's look at this. Data. I'll draw your attention to number 12. You can go to number 12, which is the capital of the present country, I guess. 560 villages growth has been seen in this area, and that is from 1969 to 2023. Just for your kind information, look at number 12. That will give you a clue. Is it normal in terms of the areas, particularly inhabited by the Meiteis and the Nagas? You can see negative growth. You can look at number 14 where the Nagas are there. Number 14 shows that there is a negative growth of the villages. And similarly in Jiribam district, you can see negative growth. So this is one contentious issue that has to be looked into. I'm not going to give any opinion, but this is important for us to remember. Now, you have heard so much about SU, that is called a suspension of operation. And these are the organizations, there are two conglomerates which harbors different ethnic armies. This one is KNO. Under KNO, you can see these organizations. So approximately around 24 armed groups are under suspension of operation under the banner of KNO and UPF. So you can look at the number. This is the camp. We call it designated camps, right? This is the designated camp. These are the designated camps. So I go to the next point. My only attempt is to give you an impression of what is actually suspension operation and what are the kinds of parties involved in it. Now next is the same.